I would like everyone to take a moment. There's a blank piece of paper in front of you to write down a name or two of anyone that is looking up to you for strength, for courage. Take a moment and write those names down. And I want you to remember those names during the next few minutes. My name is Samantha Woolley, and I'm going to share my story of overcoming hopelessness. April 14th, 2016, I received a phone call that changed the course of my entire life. I received a phone call from the HR director of my mother's work. My mother was a hospice aide. She took care of people. The gentleman on the phone briefly and vaguely explained to me that there was a car accident involving a car fire. He needed me to drive all the way home and he needed to bring me to the scene and identify my mother's vehicle. I automatically could hear my heart beating out of my chest. What was wrong? Why can't my mom identify her own vehicle? Why won't he give me any information? HIPAA laws prevented him from sharing an address of where my mother was. After many minutes, I called 911 and was able to retrieve a generic address of the location my mother was at. I took it upon myself to leave work that day, and I found the road. Upon arriving at the scene, I seen fire trucks, emergency workers, people everywhere lining the streets of anybody that lived near that home. They wouldn't let me through. I opened my vehicle and started running towards the scene. I could hear people whispering, "That must be the daughter. That must be the daughter. That poor girl." I'm looking around and I see a bunch of nurses in scrubs. I see residents of the people that lived on that street. I didn't see my mom. I looked amongst the group, and in the middle I seen my dad with his head bowed down. I knew right then what news I was going to receive. When I looked over, I didn't see a small car fire. What I seen was firefighters around a vehicle. I seen a house half gone. That was no car fire. This was my mom's 2010 black Chevy Traverse. The house half gone. Weeks later, we received the news that this was no accident. This was arson. My mother was murdered. If anyone has ever gone through anything similar or has had that moment where you lose all hope in your life, the two pieces of information you need to get through those moments are perception. You have to decide, are you going to sink or are you going to swim? In that moment, in front of that house that was on fire, I was sitting in the ditch, and I didn't look at the house anymore. I didn't see the Traverse that was burnt down. I wasn't paying attention to the people that were wiping my face of tears. All I seen were the chickens in the backyard that were still alive running around that got loose. It was April, so I seen the leaves in the tree moving around. I thought to myself in that moment, how am I going to survive this? This cannot be it. I could either be angry for what I didn't have, or I could be grateful for what I still had to come home to. I had a 2-year-old niece and a 6-year-old nephew counting on me. I couldn't let them down. Now, I could walk in this room every day and be sad and angry for what happened to me 168 days ago, or I can give you the perception of the strength and courage that I have. I put on a smile, I use my peppy voice, and I give you the perception that I want everyone to see. I want everyone to know that it is possible to have the courage and strength to move on. You need to have faith. What are you going to accomplish? Where are you going to go? Who do you want to be? Do not back down when moments like this hit you. If life brings you down, are you going to sink or are you going to swim? You have to decide. I chose to swim. I couldn't let my niece and nephew down. I had to be there for my dad. I had to be there for my sister. I needed to swim. I look at the face of my sister and my mother, and I know the strength that I have. So you choose. When a moment like that hits you, are you going to sink or are you going to swim?